you guys gone out buying used cars lately? You know, oh, you have? Somebody has gone out buying used cars? Let me tell you, that can be one of the easiest, most pleasant experiences, or it can be one of the worst experiences here on earth. You see, when you go to buy a used car, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of fine print. You got to look in the fine print. There's a lot of details in there. There's this little statement. If you look real carefully, you'll find it says, you take the car just as it is. That means with all the faults, all the defects, all the dents, scratches, dings, whatever problems it's got, when you sign on the dotted line, those problems are now your problems. You get to deal with them. Oh, you might have the car checked out, you know. You had a mechanic look at it, you took it for a spin, kind of kicked the tires, but you still don't really know the car. It's not until you drive off the lot that you actually get to know the car. That's when you get to find out all the things that are unique to that little car. All of its imperfections, all of its flaws. Then you'll see a few more dents and scratches that you didn't see before, but they're all there. This is where the gospel engages us this morning. It engages us right here at verse 36 in the Gospel of Mark, where the disciples get into the boat and they say they take Jesus just as he was. Whether that means that Jesus had dirty hands and feet and a face was dirty and his clothes were dirty, don't really know. Does that mean that they were ill-prepared for the journey? Probably. They didn't have any bread, plenty of water though, sailing on the Sea of Galilee, but they were really early on in their ministry. In their time with Jesus, they'd just begun. This was one of the first great things that they were out with Jesus doing. And so they really don't know Jesus that well. But they invite him in. They take him in just as he is, and they begin the process of getting to know Jesus. It's like when you buy that car and you drive it off the lot. You're beginning the process of just getting to know the car. You'll hear those little squeaks, the little squawks, the little things that you didn't know before. And there's those dents in the door that, well, they weren't there when you bought it. You're sure of it. And the scratch that was on the hood, that wasn't there either, but it's there now. That's when you're getting to know the car. You have all the hopes that that car is going to take you to the destination that you want to go. You hope that you won't get broken down. You hope that this is the car that it's going to be the car that you want it to be, not the car that it is, one that's got flaws in it because it's imperfect. It's made with human hands. Therefore, it's going to have some problems. We just hope that we're prepared along the way for those problems. As you come with Jesus, you have to be prepared. You have to get to know him. You do that through his word. You read about him. You see that. And that's when you realize you've got some flaws. You've got some dents, some dings, some scratches in your own life. Some of the flaws are coming out. You find them in those times when you're angry, yelling at one another. You see a few of the scratches and a few of the dents, maybe even a few tears in the seat covers when you're fighting in amongst yourselves. Yeah. There's even the little wrongs that come across. They kind of come out of our hearts. Hatred, revenge. It seems we all have a few problems of our own, don't we? But we expected this car that we purchased here, we expected to be perfect. But we expect the same of Jesus too. We expect him to be perfect, and he is. He comes with no dinks, no dents, no scratches, no flaws. He's perfect. But we're not. And it's the imperfects about us. The things about us that seem to be sometimes ongoing, those little imperfections that just seem to come up. We have so many things that we want to do in life. We want Jesus to be the way we want him to be. We don't take him just as he is. We have our own plans. We make our own plans. We don't even know the future from an hour from now, let alone a year, but we'll plan for 5 or 10 or 20 years, exactly what we're going to do in life, exactly what we're going to be, and just how we're going to get there. And we'll tell Jesus, this is the plan. Hop on board. You need to be with us. This is the plan. We know what's best, Jesus. Our plan doesn't have any kind of problems in it whatsoever. But we can't see the future. Jesus sees the future. He knows the future. And it's those plans that as we go along the way, as soon as there's that first little rough spot in the road, the plan starts to unravel. Jesus, if you would just do this. Jesus, if you could just take care of that. Jesus, if you could just... We turn Jesus from God into the Santa Claus God. Give me what I want, Jesus. Do it my way, Jesus. It's my way or the highway. But Jesus doesn't do it that way. We haven't taken Jesus as he is. We've taken him a different way. We've forgotten that he's 100% God and 100% man. That he's fully divine and yet fully human all at the same time. It leaves us feeling with some fear just to think about a God who's fully divine and fully human, all-knowing of the past, present, and future. This is a God that brings out many things that can sometimes frighten us, but there's nothing frightening. We shouldn't be afraid of Jesus, because you see, Jesus wants to give you all the things that you need. He would give you all the desires of your heart as long as the desires of your heart are in line with his plan that is for your best, for your good. That might be a different plan than what you have. But you have to take Jesus just as he is. Study the Word. Let him lead. Let him guide. You need to take the back seat. Put Jesus in the driver's seat and you be the passenger alongside him. Go where he takes you. We are ever seeing, but not perceiving. And indeed, hear, but not understand. Otherwise, we might turn and be forgiven. And often our path leads us down that road, the wide road, instead of the narrow path. There's a lot of harm. There's a lot of danger. We'll get some dings. We'll get some dents. But if we take Jesus just as he is, then it's a little bit different path. Then it's a little bit different road. Sometimes we're just not ready to do that. Sometimes we're just not ready to get our hands dirty on the narrow path. We like the wide path. It's well beaten down. You don't really have to get your hands dirty there. But it's okay if Jesus gets his hands dirty. We're just fine with someone else doing the hard work, and Jesus is more than happy to accompany that. He'll get his hands dirty for you. He'll get his feet dirty for you. He'll get his face dirty for you. He'll get his clothes dirty for you. He'll take all of your dents, all of your dings, all of your flaws, all of the wrongs, everything that he has, he's going to take it upon himself. And each one is a stripe in his body that opens up, and his blood covers it. Each one is a little dent and a little ding in Jesus' body. So heavy is that weight of the past, the present, and the future that he's perishing under its load on his way to Golgotha. And where are we? We're asleep in the cushion on the back seat of the car. The authorities aren't asleep. Neither are the soldiers. They take Jesus just as he is. They hung him on a tree. They're going to make Jesus in exactly who they want him to be. Dead, buried. They simply wanted the best for Jesus, so they put him in a tomb. Thinking now that all the winds of calm and peace can smooth out the troubled roads, the troubled times. But they were all wrong. They missed it all. They missed that Jesus rises from the grave. That is, unless you're one of the soldiers who took him as he is and saw him rise from the grave right there. So did many others. But Jesus does a little bit more than just remove some dents, remove some dings, remove some scratches from the hood or rips in the seats. Jesus brings peace. It's an awe-inspiring peace that comes only from knowing Jesus, from taking him just as he is, not as we want him to be. He leaves us with this words of comfort. He's full of forgiveness. He's full of grace. Gives us the awe, the inspiration to actually face the wrongs that we have done and be healed of some of the worst experiences in our own lives. Awe. That's the feeling of comfort. Knowing that Jesus is right there by your side. Knowing that he's going to be with you right to the very end. Knowing that he's closer to you than anybody else. Knowing that he's right there. His word drives away all the doubt, all the fear. You don't have to be afraid to face all of the wrongs because Jesus is right there with you if you take him just as he is. But Jesus takes us just as we are. He accepts us with all of the dents, the dings, the scratches, the rips and the tears. We have those dirty clothes, dirty hands, dirty feet, dirty faces. We're kind of worn out. We're at that point that we need to be washed up. And in the waters of baptism, he does just that. And with his word, he rebuilds us to make us new again, to run down any track, to be those racing Christians, to be the high-performance Christians that he knows we all can be. Take Jesus just as he is. But you know, running down the race, running down on the tracks, we all need a little bit of food for those journeys, but we need an insurance policy. We need some kind of protection along the way. And you get that right there in the Lord's Supper. A little bit of food to take and strengthen you along the way for the journey, but you also get the insurance plan, the protection plan. You get covered in Jesus' blood. His blood is the protection plan that protects you from all of the evil to your heart, mind, body, and soul. Jesus does a whole lot more than just repair a few dents and scratches. He rebuilds you from the inside out. If you take him just as he is, you're never ill-fitted. You're never at that point that you don't feel you're ready for the journey. You already are ready for the journey. You already are prepared. He's there with you. He's ready to take you just as you are, to take the wreckage of your lives into his life if you take him just as he is. Amen.